And Amy, you had some news about a rather surprising endorsement concerning the source.
Yes, Chicago Sun-Times has endorsed Leslie Munger for comptroller. They just wrote, we endorse Munger for comptroller. We see no good argument for a change at the top in that office at a time when so much else in state government is dysfunctional.
Well,
And they complimented her for, keeping this running clock on her website of the state's back bills and keeping the pressure on everybody.
No budget, no pay
Yeah.
proposal. No legislators don't get paid. There's not a constitutionally balanced budget. Yeah, no, this is something you'll rarely hear me say. Sometimes editorial board is correct. Those red diaper babies and left-wing apparatchiks actually stumbled into the correct answer for a change. So congratulations for stumbling into the correct answer, Chicago Sun-Times. Leslie Munger is excellent comptroller, and she's done a tremendous job in unbelievably difficult circumstances, like trying to pay bills
With money she doesn't have.
Right.
Because that's always hard.
It's a real trick. And it's not just appropriating money like a legislator does. She actually has to cut the check. So it's a little bit different. I want to get to there's so many emails that were released by WikiLeaks related to communications between John Podesta and so many in the Hillary orbit. A lot of issues, coordination with the media, Catholic bigotry, and I want to get to Catholic bigotry, but perhaps the most serious charge in terms of kind of legal implications is the suggestion that from these emails that the Clinton campaign may have appeared to both be in contact with the State Department on the timing of the release of her emails, in addition to contacting the Department of Justice with respect to the investigation into her homebrew server and emails. Well, golly, that doesn't sound proper. For more on this, we're joined by the best in the business when it comes to reporting. She is Chief Intelligence Correspondent for Fox News Channel. She's Catherine Herridge. Catherine, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thanks as always for having me.
And so what about those emails that relate directly to Clinton aides in contact with DOJ, Clinton aides coordinating with State Department and the timing of release? What do we understand about those?
I think the one email you're talking about specifically involves campaign spokesman Brian Fallon, who in his previous job worked at the Justice Department. And he sends out an email to his colleagues saying that he's spoken to folks over at the Department of Justice, so his former colleagues there, and he's had a heads up on a status hearing in one of the federal lawsuits brought by, I think in this case it was Judicial Watch, for the rollout of the Clinton emails. And he says to them in the email, I think we're going to get a sense of the judge's timing and strategy based on my conversation with my former colleagues at the Justice Department. The content of the email is not all that troubling. What matters here is that there even was any kind of contact.
Right.
There should be absolutely no contact between the Justice Department during an ongoing investigation, even if it's people at a lower level, and the subject of that investigation, in this case, the Clinton campaign. So this showed very poor judgment on behalf of Brian Fallon, who was the campaign spokesman, and it showed poor judgment on behalf of the Justice Department officials that he was speaking with.
And do we know if Jim Comey was aware of this? Have we gotten a response from Jim Comey or Justice about this?
I have not seen any response from either department, but reading the email, it seems that it's at a somewhat low level. I'm not sure that this would, even be something that would rise to his attention. It probably, or it may have risen to his attention now. But again, the important thing is that there should be absolutely no coordination between these groups. But I would ask your listeners to remember that just 1 week before there was a decision on whether criminal charges would be pursued, the chief of the Justice Department, Attorney General Loretta Lynch, met with Bill Clinton on that airport tarmac in Phoenix. So that's certainly the tone that was set from the top, and that was not appropriate either.
Because this new information, that raises more questions about that chance meeting there at the Sky Harbor Airport in Phoenix, Arizona.
Well, I wouldn't take it that far, because Brian Fallon is a relatively junior person in the whole matrix. But again, it shows very poor judgment on behalf of both parties, and it's thoroughly inappropriate. On the State Department question, I don't know the exact email that you're referring to, though I've read the reporting about it. The thing that has my attention is that throughout this investigation and the release of the emails, it often seemed to me that the State Department and the Clinton campaign were working from the same set of talking points.
Mm-hmm.
The way they described the emails, emphasizing that everything was upgraded after the fact declassified, which was not the case, and the way that they framed it for the public certainly had my attention. It seemed very suspicious to me because it was just almost a carbon copy. And if these emails are in fact accurate, it would suggest that there was coordination. And that, again, this is inappropriate. The State Department is a government agency. It's working for the people of the United States. It is not working for a political campaign.
Well, it sure seems to be. And the emails with respect to State Department email release, one of the most troubling emails from my perspective is Heather Samuelson, who's one of the Hillary attorneys who got an immunity deal that was questioned on the Hill, immunity deal from Justice, and that Jim Comey defended. She writes one of the emails, DOS, state, is soon releasing another round of documents and email traffic, not hers, in response to Judicial Watch's FOIA request on DOS's process for reviewing William J. Clinton's speaking engagements. She goes on to say it's 116 pages with approximately 50 sponsor, sub-sponsor requests. No objections by DOS in this batch, but some lengthy internal discussions among DOS officials that I highlighted below. I mean, it sounds like she's the ombudsman for DOS on behalf of the campaign.
I mean, the overlap in these cases, I would really encourage your listeners to go read some of these documents. The overlap is just, I've said this word before, it's just inappropriate on so many levels, and you don't have to be a reporter to understand that, especially now that we see that there was what I would describe as a preferred reporter list, so people they felt very comfortable planting positive stories with. And remember, a democracy only works when you have a media which is really holding those in power accountable, and certainly the email suggests that has not been the case.
Well, you keep saying it's inappropriate, but is anything illegal?
I don't know the answer to that, so I don't want to give.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Hello,
Catherine?
Can you hear me now?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry about that.
That was the question. No, you mentioned, that's it. You don't want to get into that because you don't know if any of this activity was illegal.
I don't want to give your listeners bad information. Yeah, I just don't want to do that.
I want to go to something you just mentioned, just in a little bit more detail. The stories or the emails that seem to suggest coordination between the op-ed editor for the Boston Globe and the New York Times and CNN analyst, former DNC chair, current DNC chair, Donna Brazile, and on and on and on. When we're all supposed to roll our eyes when Donald Trump or others suggest collusion between the D.C. press corps and the Hillary campaign, this seems to provide ample evidence to support that contention.
Well, there is one email that was in this latest release involving a New York Times reporter who, it's a partial exchange, but based on what's available, seems to be going to the campaign and is offering them veto power on quotes to be used. It's not uncommon to try and clean up quotes if you're just taking handwritten notes, but it's absolutely not common to give the subject of your story a veto on what's being used. That's just thoroughly unprofessional and not in keeping with journalistic standards. And providing a campaign a question in advance, which is, I think, the email you're referring to from
Mark Leibovich, yeah.
Donna Brazile. This is, she denies it, but it seems very clear.
Yeah, you
from
can see it.
The emails that's what happened, and this is just not appropriate either. But these people have to answer for their own actions.
Now, Donald Trump says that the Department of Justice, is conspiring to help cover up for the Clinton crimes. That will play itself out in weeks to come. But Trump also is being accused. The Clinton campaign is accusing Trump that Roger Stone had spoken personally with Julian Assange to, help release these emails quicker. Is there any truth to that?
I don't know. Boy, I feel like I'm giving you a lot of don't knows,
okay.
but I would rather not give you bad information.
Yes.
And there's thousands of documents, so I feel okay saying I can't have read all of them at this point.
Right.
I love your honesty and your candor.
It's like trying to read the Obamacare legislation in 24 hours.
Matter, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good, and the central ones are the ones that we've discussed: the State Department, the Department of Justice, the D.C. press corps. Catherine Herridge.
Yeah, your listeners should really. I'd encourage them to go look at these documents, and they can really make up their own minds. I think very easily. But certainly, what's in those documents is, it's shocking to me on many levels. Just not professional conduct, inappropriate conduct, and very disappointing on many levels.
Catherine Herridge, Chief Intelligence Correspondent for Fox News Channel. Catherine, thanks as always for being with us. Appreciate it.
And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.